lot of you listening to me right here, right now, you're not part of the club either. And what I realized with the club is what makes them so mad is when you don't want to be a part of the club. That pisses them off. What club am I talking about? I'm talking about the club gatekeepers.
Diddy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of crazy things that's going on with this story, Diddy, right? I mean, a lot of people are calling him the Epstein of the music, the Hollywood world, the business, what do you call it, the entertainment world. I read this story and I want to kind of get your thoughts on this here.
Celebrities going to be shook. He had politicians in there. He had princes in there. He also had a couple of preachers in there.
Oh, damn.
Is he talking about who I think he's talking about?
You think?
Is he?
Hallelujah.
Cat Williams commented on that.
Williams definitely brought him on a preacher.
Yeah.
Ice Cube recently shed light on how Bianca and Jay-Z have allegedly backed Diddy during some of his more challenging controversies. He claims the power couple has discreetly worked behind the scenes to prevent certain matters involving Diddy from reaching the public eye. His revelations also hint at long-standing rivalries, personal tensions, and the intricate power struggles that shape relationships among hip-hop's elite.
What's cracking? It's your homie Ice Cube. Just wanted to address a few things. Everybody been checking out the internet. My man Cat Williams. First of all, I just want to say, we shot that movie over 20 years ago, so people have different perspectives, and it's been a long time. I also want to say, every comedian that I've worked with, every comedian that I've put in a movie, I only put them in the movie because I thought they was funny. I thought they was perfect for the part. I tried to put them in a position to win. That's what it's all about, I look at from, Chris Tucker and Bernie Mac and Mike Epps, Cat Williams, Ricky Smiley, Michael Blackson, Cedric, Kevin Hart. All these guys I know are funny as hell. I didn't discover them. They were doing their stand-up or doing their thing, and I knew that they were great and that they could act, and that if I have an opportunity, I was going to give them an opportunity. To me, that's what it's all about. As far as specific things, Cat was 100 on a few things. Most of what he was saying, a couple of things, I just want to clarify. When we bring in a new, comedian, we do have them try out for different roles. So Ricky did give Money Mike a shot. But when we saw him and, we kind of saw how he moved and how he was, auditioning, we decided that he would be a better, Santa Claus, which was, to me, the perfect casting. When we saw Mike, damn, I call him Money Mike. When we saw Cat, when I saw him, I just knew that he was perfect for Money Mike. And Cat, said he wrote his role, which, the role was written, but he enhanced it. This is why Cat was so dope in the movie. Money Mike had a small role, about as big as the Santa Claus role, but when we started filming, he was giving us such magic that we kept expanding his role and giving him more to do because he was on point. When we shoot these movies, And, for one, the scripts are fire, or they wouldn't even do it. The scripts are laugh out funny. But we shoot the script. And once we get what we need from the script, we let the comedians ad-lib, riff, play with the words, do their thing. We give them a take where they can, or 2, 3 takes where they can go off and do what they feel. Sometimes it makes the movie, sometimes it don't. When somebody gives you jewels, you want to try to make sure that makes the movie. So in the movie, there's second thing I want to clear up. I would never shoot a rape scene in a movie, especially like Friday, where you actually see this happening on camera. That ain't my style. If you check out any of my movies, they're not raunchy. We did a movie called Players Club where the subject matter was a little raunchy, but for the most part, even that, we left it to your imagination. So the only reason that kind of stuff was in the movie is because you have 3 villains in Friday After Next. You have Santa Claus stealing presents. You have Damon, just got out of prison, sweating. Craig and Day for the rent money. And then you have Money Mike, a pimp that treats his woman, like a property. So Craig is always fighting the villains in the movie, from the Joker Brothers to Debo. And so we already had Craig fighting Santa Claus. And the only real way to get rid of the other 2 villains was to have them go against each other. And the plier joke was always in the script. It was never, we would never ever show that. That's not my style if you look at any of my movies. So, that was never a discussion. We, at that point in everybody's career, we would listen to a certain extent, but we wasn't gonna change the movie for any actor. We do what we feel, and if it was a rape scene, it would have been in the movie. There was no reason not to shoot it. But that's not my style. I don't even like that kind of shit in movies, on camera. And so, that was, to me, a little discrepancy there. Cat, he wrote a lot of his part because, like I said, he was giving us jewels, so we were keeping the camera rolling. He was coming off the dome. He was coming prepared every day to steal the show. That was his mission. And, that's what he did, with the movie. And it launched his career, And I'm proud of the movie. I'm proud of all the guys who've, come through, Acute Vision Production and went on to do bigger and better things. And look, a lot of people are talking about pay and how much they was paid on these movies that were extremely low budget. Most of these guys work a couple of days, and when you're doing a movie, there's over 100 people working on the movie that need to get paid. Most of them got to get paid every day. And there's pre-production and post-production. Even after you finish with the actors, you got to pay editors and sound people. And my movies are all about quality, so most of the money go up on the screen. I'm not giving you no bullshit. I'm not giving you no low budget, shit you can laugh at because it's so cheap. So, we try to put all the money on the screen. And so any actor that's mad at what they got paid, just look at what you was doing. Look at where your career was at the time. Take a look at where it is now. And Friday has something to do with that, I believe. And I put a lot of people in movies, but they ain't never put me in a movie. So you can take that for what it's worth, you know what I'm saying? I've given a lot of these guys opportunities. And I still act, so I'm waiting for a call. I ain't got to produce everything or write everything. I got love for all the comedians that I've worked with. Got, you know, much love for Cat. You know, he spoke up for me a lot. And I just wanted to be clear and clarify some things. And shit, man. I hope you.
Let's dive into Cat Williams' perspective on this situation.
I have a good 2024.
Well, we got to see what Cat Williams said about the matter.
We were shooting it. He told everybody, it should have been my role. Everybody on the scene. Why do you think no cast member has ever said anything?
He couldn't have played that role like you. I thought he was...
Sir, no one... Why no... He was with KD? He beat up Terry Crews? Why nobody know this story? You talking about in Hollywood, they switched off roles. You take this and he... What? So Ricky Smiley knows this, and I don't know why he would lose a child and come on the air and start lying. That's why people believe in rituals right there. It's because, well, why would he lie? I don't know why liars lie, but I can tell you this. We auditioned in Los Angeles. He was so egregious, not now, then he was so egregious that, and Hollywood has never heard this in 100 years. He was so egregious, I put in my contract that I won't work with Ricky Smiley again unless he's in a dress. Now, what was Ricky Smiley's next movie? Was it First Sunday? Did he wear a dress in it? You bet he did. It's in my contract.
Why would you put that in your contract, Cat?
That's where he's a believable actor.
So out of me. What movie done?
Thank y'all for this opportunity, Ricky Smiley Morning Show. Let's just get into this. The whole internet going crazy. Comments that Cat Williams made. Whatever. I can't speak on behalf of the other comedians, but the only thing I can speak for is myself. Cat made some comments on Shannon Sharp's show about when I was on Shannon Sharp was telling him the story of some of the behind the scenes from Friday After Next. Let's start with that. When I went out there, let's just go back. In 2000, I was the host of BET Comic View, and in the season 2004. I also worked on this show called Live from LA. That was my first job with BET, and that's where I met Ice Cube, if I'm not mistaken. And Ice Cube was like, man, hey man, I like your work. I want to do some stuff with you. I want to put you in some movies. And Ice Cube started putting me in movies, which really helped my career. I was in All About the Benjamins, but of course, when they changed the ending of it, that part didn't make any sense. But then he put me in Friday After Next. And just for clarification, I went out to audition for Friday After Next as Money Mike, not the Santa Claus. And that is the honest God truth. I had no reason to go on there and to go on Shannon Sharp's show and lie about any of that. That's what I auditioned for, was Money Mike. And I guess the producers, Cube and everybody saw something different. And I think that Money Mike character, Special K, was going to come off as kind of like
just a guy who was hanging around in the strip mall who was just kind of being annoying.
Yeah.
And almost like a crackhead type of character that was
right. So I guess when Cat Williams did it, they added the whole pimp twist to that character, which was actually a better decision and made it funnier. Cause ain't no way in the hell I could have executed that role like that. And I'm glad that they made that decision and they put me in a Santa Claus role, which was actually perfect. So when I got back to LA, they said, hey, your role has changed. You're gonna be the Santa Claus, and here's the Santa Claus suit. Put it on, and here's your lines. Sat in the trailer, went over the lines, went over my stuff with Cube, and the rest is history. Had no reason. I just want to clarify that. Had no reason to lie about that. As a matter of fact, my manager at the time, Gary Abdo, who is still one of my best friends, who also helped start my career, and he's the owner of the Atlanta Comedy Theater in Atlanta. We got him on the phone just to clarify. Gary Abdo, good morning.
morning, Ricky. How are you, my friend?
Oh, I'm good, man. Just for clarification, you was my manager at the time. We went to LA together for the audition. Cube wanted to see us. What is your version?
Yeah, well, we're old, and that was 23 years ago. So, our memories are what our memories are. You went out, you auditioned, they wanted you to play Money Mike. That was the sides that they had sent. The sides are the portion of the script for the part they want you to play. Those were the sides they sent. That was the audition you did. They said, great, we want you to play this role. My recollection is you had to go back and read for the execs from the studio one final time. And the night before that, we got different sides, and they said, no, we want you to play this role. And we didn't understand it. We really were under the impression, well, you had the role as Money Mike, but then all of a sudden they switched it up. Now we understand why. Cat came in, blew them away. He's an incredible performer. That was probably one of the most iconic breakout parts in movie history. I mean, that
Absolutely.
was literally Cat. That was literally Cat's first movie. Friday was not Chris Tucker's first movie. Next Friday was not Mike Epps' first movie. For that to have been Cat Williams' first movie, and he exploded. I mean, that literally made him an iconic touring comedian, one of the biggest to do it in this generation. And, the rest, as they say, was history. But, yeah, absolutely, without a doubt, you were auditioning for Money Mike. We were told you had the role, and then that switched up overnight.
And I'm glad I ended up being the Santa Claus, because that role was iconic and not as funny as his. I like the pimp. I personally like the pimp better, but the Santa Claus role was just perfect for me. At the time, I was skinny and could run fast. So
and you could squeeze over that gate. So, yeah, that was the...
I just wanted to clarify that. And then there was no contract ever in agreement with the first Sunday movie, because that was a whole different production directed by who just directed my Netflix special, David E. Talbert, about me playing Bernice Jenkins. That's something that David called me personally. David and Lynn are fans and have been fans of my work for a long time, and it was like, we want you to play Bernice Jenkins, and and here you go, and that's what happened. And I went out there and shot that in one day, me and Red Grant, and that was a lot of fun. Right. And it had nothing to do with Cat Williams' contract or whatever. So you know what I'm saying? Like, I respect Cat. Definitely disappointed that you have to get on the air and explain something like this, but that's the truth, and I don't know what else to say. So there it is.
There's not much else to say. It's indisputable that Cat played that role, killed it, built an entire career out of that one role that all of us look at and go, wow, that's absolutely amazing. But it's also indisputable you were auditioning for Money Mike. We were told you had the role. You just had to read one more time, and then that switched up.
And the crazy thing about it is we had a conversation when it came out. He said a lot of this 12 years ago, and we had a conversation because I was on 14th Street in Atlanta, right by the Four Seasons Hotel, and I was driving down the street with my granddad in the car, and I saw Cat Williams going across the street on 14th Street, and I said, Cat, what's up? Whatever. I just wanted to make sure we was good. He said, come over and have a cup of coffee with me, because he was walking over to Starbucks. And I went over and he went in there and got the coffee. We was chopping it up or whatever. Just didn't even really talk about the issue or whatever. I said, hey man, I want you to come out and say hello to my granddad. My granddad is a fan. He came out to the truck I'll never forget, I was in my Ford F-150 and I came out and spoke to my granddad. He hugged my granddad and wished him well. My granddad was like, keep doing what you're doing, young man. My granddad was living at the time. It was just me and my granddad in the truck. And we dapped it up, and that was it. I mean, that was it. And I thought that we were good. I didn't know that we had any issues. And if there are any issues or if there's anything that I've done, not only to Cat Williams, to anybody, I apologize, and I'm not perfect. I made mistakes, but I did. That's just the honest to God truth. And I did audition for what I auditioned for, and I'm glad that the producers made that decision. And let me address all of the things with Gary. You can help me out with this, because comedy greats like Flip Wilson played Geraldine. Richard Pryor played some roles on his show. Jamie Foxx played Wanda. Martin played Shanae. I did. Bernice Jenkins, Tyler Perry did. Madea. There's a lot of comics and a lot of comedy greats that did characters for the sake of funny, for entertainment, for the sake of the laugh. And it has nothing to do with nobody's comfortable in the role. Nobody wants to put on a damn dress or comfortable in it, that has nothing to do with my manhood being lessened for trying to play a role and trying to put food on the table for my family. Because it's a prop. It's nothing more than a prop. It's nothing more than a way to get a laugh. I mean, back in Shakespeare's time, there were no females playing female roles. Every female role was played by a man. It's just part of an art form. It's part of what makes it funny. You bring the funny to it. I wish that I'm sure you remember. People don't know about this. The pilot that you shot for the Kings of Comedy TV show, Bernice Jenkins had a whole sketch with Madea. Yeah, I did a sketch with Madea, me, Earthquake, Tyler Perry, Niecy Nash.
All right, what movie should I check out next?
There's a lot of crazy things that's going on with this story Diddy, right? I mean, a lot of people are calling him the Epstein of the music, the Hollywood world, the business, what do you call it, the entertainment world. I read this story and I want to kind of get your thoughts on this here. So here's a story. Sean Diddy Combs' former bodyguard claims music mogul had tapes of politicians and princes out there. And we'll play this clip in a minute. Gene Deal, who was present the night before Notorious B.I.G. Biggie was fatally shot in 1997, made the sensational comments during an interview with Art of Dialogue YouTube channel. And here's what he had to say. Go for it, Rob.
Finding out he was recording everything.
But not only celebrities. I don't think it's only celebrities going to be shook. He had politicians in there. He had princes in there. He also had a couple of preachers in there.
Is he talking about who I think he's talking about?
You think?
Is he?
Hallelujah.
Cat Williams commented on that.
Cat Williams definitely brought him on a preacher.
Yeah. You know what preacher that is?
I don't.
Okay. You don't know the preacher that was seen with Diddy at one of the parties that Cat Williams says, I don't care whether you're TD Jakes or Diddy.
Oh, yeah. So he goes, the truth is coming out in 2024.
Listen, again, this is allegedly. That's what he's saying. Your thoughts on this story here?
So it wasn't just this guy that was saying it. Lil Rod, the former producer, filed the lawsuit, and he said every room in Diddy's mansions were wired with cameras. And he had some of the footage, he had some of the pictures, and he displayed those in the lawsuit that came out. And this was used for blackmail material. They bring in these people. A lot of these people were also aspiring young artists in the music industry. And then these parties were sponsored by Motown Records CEO, Universal Records CEO. This goes all the way to the top. And so you get these people in compromising situations. The drinks were laced. The videotapes were hot. And then at the end of the day, you wake up the next morning, what did I do? And then they have compromising material on you. And then they can guide your career. They could kill your career, but they got you. And it wasn't just people in the music business. As you said, there were athletes, there were celebrities, there were politicians, people.
That was a fun conversation. Now shifting back to Diddy, often dubbed the King of Dolls. Ice Cube is now accusing Jay-Z of allegedly covering for Diddy after federal authorities released a clip involving Cassie. Interestingly, Ice Cube points the finger at Jay-Z for the leak, though the reasons behind his sudden turn against Diddy remain unclear. This drama also connects to a story from Jen Deal that's been gaining momentum. Let's check in and see what Patrick and his team have to say about it. Hold up, did I just hear that Diddy still has supporters? Are they coming from the Beecher's Wife House Club or something? It's crazy to see people standing by him, especially after watching him train like he's getting ready to step into the ring with Tyson.